Welcome to the Dumb Idea Podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video or podcast on any platform that you're listening on. Please visit us at www.dumbideapodcast.com. All right, welcome back. Another episode. Kind of an not awkward, but this one's going to meander probably a little bit. We had talked in the past about how we would like some government programs for certain things. Like, we've talked about how we're in favor of single-payer health care, but only if it was done properly and done right, so that people benefited. And we both said we don't have any faith in the government to do a single-payer health care program correctly.
Anything correctly, let alone.
True, yeah. I'm going to say anything is, you're probably right. I'm sure there's something they do, and we could maybe figure that out as we go along. But healthcare was the biggest one because, you know, with the Affordable Care Act that was put out there, parts of it were a great idea. Parts of it sucked. And I've talked about this app a little bit. And people are going to be, oh, guys, talking about an app. Of course he is. So, not that I needed or I was curious about it. It's an app called GoodRx. And for those that don't know, GoodRx, you go on there, you create an account with just your email. You're not paying for anything. Now, we've also said that if you're not paying for the service, you are the service. So I'm sure GoodRx sells your information somehow to get ads in front of your face. But I've always said, for me, it's a transactional relationship. If an app or a company is going to do good things for me, then my information is worth giving up. And I think this is one in particular that the trade-off, the so-called juice is worth the squeeze. And basically, for those that don't know, GoodRx, you put the app on your phone, you create the account, and then you put in your medications that you need. And you do them one by one, and it asks for the drug name, the dosage, and then how many pills, 30, 60, 90. Most people generally will probably go with 90 because you get the 3-month supply. Now, they even have a 120 option in there, and you put that information in, and essentially what it does is it shops, it looks for prices for that prescription at all of the pharmacies within your area. I mean, you can set the distance to 20 miles, 30 miles, whatever it is. So I did it with the drugs that I use. And yeah, let's see, atorvastatin, it's a cholesterol controlling statin drug. I take atorvastatin, I do 40 milligram tablets, and a 90-day supply. Now, I've got really good insurance though, so I pay about $4 to $5 for my copay for my 90-day supply. But there are a lot of people who don't have that kind of an insurance plan.
Oh yeah, don't have a deductible or
right,
any of that. Yeah.
Or so there are some people who don't have insurance at all, or some people are on Medicare. And well, a lot of people don't know Medicare doesn't necessarily come with prescription drug covers. That's, I think, Medicare Part D, and that's not mandatory. So some people don't have that. Now, for that drug I just talked about, atorvastatin, 40 milligrams, 90 tablets on GoodRx, and I'm looking it up as I'm speaking to you. Within 10 miles of me, 10 miles. Safeway, I get 90 tablets for $1.84. That's cheaper than my copay.
Mm-hmm.
Wegmans, $12.34. Weiss Pharmacy, $12.61. Giant, $13.91. Rite Aid, $14.91. Costco, $26.98. Walmart, $38. So you see the prices are starting to go up, right?
Yeah.
But there are 3 of those that are under that $13 mark. One of which is $1.84.
Mm-hmm.
Is it more of a hassle? Sure. Because now I got to take my physical written prescription. I got to go to that pharmacy. And I may only get that one prescription from there. But if I'm someone who's paying $50 or $30 for that 90-day supply, and I'm getting that knocked down to $1.84, and I only got to go once every 3 months to do this,
Or even if you're getting it, say you want to keep it at the same place your other prescriptions are. If you're paying $50, and say you use Walgreens, and Walgreens is $14, $14 is a lot better than $50.
right?
So maybe you do keep it there. You don't call your doctor and drive. Okay, I gotta go to this place for this one, that place for this one. You just do it all at once, but you're still saving money over just doing it through whatever medium you're using before.
Sure. And keep in mind, this is not a paid healthcare plan.
Yeah.
You're just signing up, and you show the card, the coupon, to the pharmacist. They scan it and they give you the price. Mm-hmm. So I put in another one that I use, pantoprazole. It's a GERD or indigestion drug, basically like a strong Tums for the most part, or Tums on steroids, whatever you want to call it. But basically, it stops the acid reflux from coming up and making me choke on it. 40 milligram, 90 tablets. Generally, I probably pay a $5 copay. Mm-hmm. But again, though, I pay for good health insurance. Someone without any health insurance that just went on the GoodRx app could get it for the same price I do.
Yeah.
$5.
Yep.
Another one's $12.80, $14.05, $14.10.
And this doesn't include any insurance at all.
No, so you're not paying any insurance premium for this.
So this is just like walking in and buying a pound of butter.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. You're not paying an insurance premium. Mm-hmm. You're not paying any, like what the price said here. You literally tap on it. You show the pharmacist at the checkout. They scan it, and you get that price. Mm-hmm. That's it. It costs you $0.
Yeah.
That might take you a little. It does probably add a little time to it because, I mean, oddly enough, the two that were the cheapest for both of those are at the same pharmacy.
Yeah.
So I could go to one pharmacy and knock two birds out with one stone. Mm-hmm. But my thing, I guess, for this is it really that helpful for someone in their 30s or 40s or 20s that don't have very many maintenance drugs?
Right.
Maybe not. But let's say I only have one maintenance drug. Mm-hmm. If I'm paying let's say I'm paying $25, which I think is a common copay for a lot of prescription drug plans, $20 to $25. But let's say I can get it for $5. So I save myself $15 4 times a year. $60 a year.
Yeah.
That's a night out. That's dinner for you and the wife.
Yeah. It was a tank of gas.
Well, true, yeah. Now it's half a tank. But let's say I'm a senior citizen though.
Yeah.
And I'm on 4 or 5 different maintenance drugs. You know, you've just turned that $60 into $240.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, I mean, and that's if you're paying $20 every 3 months. Let's say you're not. Let's say you're paying $50 or $100. And for people to think I'm nuts, you're not. You haven't checked drug prices without an insurance plan. They are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And our senior citizens, if they don't have that Medicare Part D, they're the ones getting hammered by a lot of this. And so I guess my question is this, because I started off talking about the Affordable Care Act. My question is, if this company could do this, again, there's no payment for me to get this benefit. Mm-hmm. I'm probably giving them my information. They might be selling my information, but I'm getting a heck of a deal.
Right.
Like, if you look at it as transactional, my information is worth the amount I'm going to save here.
Right.
But for someone who's older, on more maintenance drugs, and we always say we should take care of our most vulnerable. Our seniors could be our most vulnerable. Someone could argue that's our most vulnerable. You know, you got children, but you got seniors too.
Yep.
It's almost like they would rather the senior citizens just run down their bank accounts with medication drugs, which, you know, could be true, rather than having this benefit. And they know no one over the age of 65 is going to use it because it's on an app. It's on a phone.
Right.
I mean, trying to get my mother to use email is crazy. You know?
Yeah.
Hooking her printer up to her computer is rough. You know, never mind. Hey, Mom.
It reminds me of that commercial with the old ladies in there She's like, I put this picture on my wall. And it's like a picture on a wall.
Yeah.
She's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Right. But the people that could use this the most aren't going to use it. And the government put so much money into the Affordable Care Act. They put so much money, and the states put so much money into developing the exchange websites. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking millions.
Which then, like, crashed when they opened.
Right. They paid millions for a poor product.
Yeah.
These guys are literally giving away the savings for free.
Yeah.
And our government couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. They didn't do the most basic thing to protect the vulnerable. And protection doesn't always mean you're stopping them from, a bullet and dying. Protecting their money, protecting their way of life.
Yeah.
If this can save them,
so they don't have to eat cat food.
Right.
And what it comes between, okay, well, I can pay for my drugs or I can eat.
Right. And people are going to say that's hyperbole, and it's not.
Yeah.
There was a movie called Love and Other Drugs, and it had Anne Hathaway, big fan of hers, and I want to say it was Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. But anyway, the story was Anne Hathaway would organize these bus trips for senior citizens to go from New York to Canada to go buy prescription drugs because they were so much cheaper in Canada.
Yeah.
And people still do this today, by the way. Mm-hmm. This isn't. I mean, this movie's probably over 10 years old, 12 years, 20 years old.
Yeah.
They're still doing this.
Oh, certainly.
Because the drugs are so much cheaper in Canada. And so for people that don't think senior citizens need help with their drug care cost, their prescription drug costs, just are kind of putting their head in their sand a little bit and not paying attention. Or they didn't ask. I mean, some people just didn't ask because they don't know it's a problem.
Yeah.
But this app alone, right here, and I've just shown 2 examples of drugs that I use, that I could get the drugs for less than my copay with an unbelievable healthcare plan that we have. We do it through my wife's work.
Yeah.
To me, it's astounding that this app that senior citizens probably will never know how to use. There's the government could have taken all those millions of dollars that they used to set up exchanges, and whatever other money went into that, and they could have used it to go into senior citizen centers, assisted living centers, and they could have gotten, for no money other than the training, you could have paid some high school kids or given some community service time.
Yeah.
To
just set these things up for the residents of homes or whatever.
Right. Like, there could have been a program where we sent people, paid, unpaid, community service, whatever it is, into senior centers, senior living centers, assisted living centers, nursing homes, whatever you want.
Yeah, well, and a lot of these places have in their staff essentially a benefits manager that just, because I know when my mother was in a rehab facility, I think she was there for 28 days, and this was shortly before, a couple months before she passed away, but she was there, and there was they knew, I talked to this lady, she knew exactly how long she could stay, how much it would cost, what the government would pay for, how much it would cost if she left, how much time needed to pass when she was discharged before she could come back, it would still be covered. So they get really savvy with this stuff, and you just train that person to do this.
Well, in some of those places, what people don't realize is they have pharmacies on site. Mm-hmm. So they are the pharmacy. They just don't tell you that.
Yeah.
Because they get the markup on the drug.
Yeah.
So it's not in their best interest to go into the room with the GoodRx app and say, hey, rather than me tacking $50 onto your bill for this pill, you could get 90 of them for a quarter of the price.
It's funny because I remember now that you mentioned that, the social worker at the hospital, because this was all uncharted territory for me. I was not expecting to be dealing with this at the age, that my mom was, and then this all occurred, I wasn't even 40 years old yet. Mm-hmm. So, I would have been ready to deal with this stuff maybe when I was hitting 50, not before I hit 40.
Right.
And I remember the social worker at the hospital, she said, don't use they filled all this stuff at the hospital rather than going in and using the nurse or the rehab facility stuff, because they would have jacked up the price. But if you have like a assisted living facility or something that's like really interested in the welfare of their patients, which there are some out there, they're not all evil.
Right.
It's something that they could definitely help out with, or a church group, I
mean, let's say they're not price gouging. Let's say they're just charging what the pharmacy down the road is.
Yeah.
They're still not going to be cheaper than something like this app.
Right.
That could, even if it lowers it by $50 a month. Yeah, a lot of senior citizens don't have extra cash, especially from that era. At least I don't want to say like, I was going to say that the World War II generation, where a lot of them depended on Social Security as their retirement, or, but even some of the generations that came after them, they do rely on Social Security.
Yeah,
that's their retirement. They paid into it. They feel it's a retirement. It's essentially for them. It was a 401k.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic for discussion, whether it is or it isn't. But basically, they're on this fixed income, and it's not that much money. Mm-hmm. I mean, my in-laws live on that fixed income, and they make every dollar work.
Yeah.
Especially if rent, with as high as rent has gotten, they're squeezed.
Yeah.
And a lot of their cost is prescription drug costs. But my thing, like with some of these assisted living places, or even like the small urgent cares that have popped up, those are like the biggest business there is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't make money on the visit. They make money on the drugs that they're selling you.
Yeah.
Because they always ask you, when you go into, like, for us, it's like patient first or priority care clinics or whatever the urgent care clinic, or they do the kids one the right time. Mm-hmm. They always say, oh, would you like to get the prescription here? We can fill that for you right now.
Yeah.
And mom and dad are like, hey, I don't have to go to the drugstore and wait an hour. Mm-hmm. Or you're just in pain. You've had this horrible cough, and they're willing to give you the antibiotic and the cough suppressant. Both, of course, they're prescriptions.
Yeah.
Right there. You can walk out with them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to
go home and go to bed.
Right. And they don't realize that they're charging you $50 for it, or $60, and that's with insurance. Yeah. If you don't have insurance, that's $110.
Yeah. So that medicine that the one that costs $1.14 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What's the uninsured, just straight up caught, like some swinging dick walks into the Safeway and wants to buy that with.
That's a good point. Let's see. So the one that was $1, I think, was the Lipitor. Let me see what that one was. Hold on. Torvastatin. Okay, so that's the one that's $1.84. Let me see. Where would I find just like a regular price? Let me just type it in. Let me see. Torvastatin.
We need a guy to sit here and Google stuff for us.
We need a Jamie. We got no Jamie.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for work,
unpaid work,
hit us up. We don't pay well, meaning we don't pay at all.
Let's see. 90-day supply cost. Let's see. Plus, my Google skills aren't great. See, I'm looking online though, so of course, GoodRx is like the first search thing that comes up. Jeez. And Torvastatin is probably not the best one to choose either because it's a generic already.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Without insurance, the average monthly cost of a brand name Lipitor prescription is around $430 for 30 10 milligram tablets.
That's more than $10 a pill.
Let's see. The retail price of atorvastatin calcium for so that's the generic.
Yeah.
The generic for 40 milligram pills. So that was, now we're on the same milligram pills that I was taking. $127.
Okay. Yeah.
So now in the GoodRx app, so that was for 30. 127 was for 30. Mm-hmm. In the GoodRx app, you can get 90 for $1.34.
Right.
So that's what, let's see, 127, so 130, that's, let's see, you're 260, 390 versus $1.84. And all you had to do was open an app.
Yeah.
But some people don't have the app. Like, but again, though, for someone who's not insured, someone's taking that med, if someone's seriously paying $390 for a 90-day supply,
Yeah.
versus $1 or two, I'll round up to $2.
Yeah.
It's $2.
Right.
I mean, and again though, why? Everyone says healthcare is a right. Healthcare is a right. Where are those people that want to do single payer, and you know, we want to do single payer, but the government can't do it right, and this is proof of that right here.
Yeah.
If these guys who created this app, or this company, or whoever it is, can create this app and get you something that costs the guy on the street $390 for a 90-day supply of a statin drug that lowers cholesterol so you don't have heart attacks
Or strokes.
And they're okay with someone paying $390 for it, and this app says, no, $1.84.
Yeah.
But our government's cool with $3.90. $309, not $3.90, $390.
Right. Right.
So that, and that's why I say, and I don't trust the government to do single payer right.
No.
They're because I feel, and I'm sure there is some proof out there, that the people, the pharmaceutical industry, big pharma, is in cahoots with the government.
Yeah.
To get money.
Remember Big Pharma was like the enemy?
Are they? Yeah, they were until the vaccine, right?
Now Big Pharma is like the darling. So I just thought that was interesting. But
by the way, for people who don't think they were in bed, look at the latest, probably 3 earnings reports for Pfizer and Merck. Was it Merck? No. Who was the other one?
AstraZeneca was one.
Who was the other? It was Pfizer, Moderna.
Yeah. Was AstraZeneca one of them?
They were the ones that got theirs pulled.
Okay.
They didn't pay the right person.
Yeah. They didn't grease the right wheel.
They did not. No. they apparently either did Johnson and Johnson. Yeah. So, which is surprising because I thought Woody Johnson was on. I thought he was on someone's good side. But look at their earnings reports, and specifically the part where they made the profits off of the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like that was that was not a benevolent act. That was not pro bono.
Yeah.
They got a lot. They made record profits because of that. Mm-hmm. And it was supposed to be, we're all in this together. Yeah. Well, apparently they weren't in it together with us. They were in it for the money. Mm-hmm. Shocking.
Yeah.
You know, but again, for people who say it can't be done, well, I got proof right here, and no one can, and I don't think anyone can disprove me because I got it sitting right in front of me. And I've actually gone in with a GoodRx coupon just to see if it would work. It worked, so it's legit.
Yeah, and I'm wondering. So we obviously know that you know, and they say that government involvement in healthcare is, you know, drives costs up, or insurance company involvement, because they're going to charge whatever the insurance company will pay. So, and it's neat, like living in this area because we're so close to DC, we get a lot of commercials where you wouldn't get them in other areas of the country. because they're trying to influence lobbyists and maybe a congressperson or someone that's on, or a staffer or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat here that you get the commercials from the pharmaceutical lobby, from big oil, from all these different lobbies. Like, why is this a commercial on TV? Like, you're watching a football game, you're just a schlub, and you're expected to see, like, a beer commercial, maybe some tits, something like that. And it's from from API,
right.
Talking about how great the petrochemical industry is. Like, why is this? But hey, it's DC. Like, that's what you get. But you look at the cost of, they will pay. And, when my mother was in the rehab, I said, well, what's the day-to-day cost? And they said something ridiculous. I said, well, does that include anything? They're like, no, that's just to be here. And I said, why is that so hard? Like, it's free for this. He goes, well, because that's what the government pays. So they know that that's what they're going to pay. So they make the cost that. So say it's 100. I think it was like $150 a day or something like that. So it's $150 a day just to be in the building, just to have the privilege of being in this dump. You get that much. They get that much money, and that's because that's what the government will pay.
I have a good story. I have a good story for that too.
Yeah. So like if she's not there because I don't want to pay that, they're just going to find someone else that will. And for every day that she's there not paying that rate, that means that somebody else isn't there on the government's dime getting paid that rate.
Yeah, so when my grandmother was she had some health issues as she got older. So she was in assisted living, I want to say from like 73 to like 86. Mm-hmm. So long term, right? In order to get Medicaid to cover it, my dad had to make sure she had no money in her bank account.
Yep.
Because they check your bank account.
They also do a look back.
Yep. And so my dad, to make sure that she had some cash, would always just give her cash to keep in the room, like in the place with her. Mm-hmm. She couldn't have a bank account though.
Yeah.
Or she had a bank account and they'd keep it like at $20 or $30, something really low. But my dad would make sure she had cash to do what she wanted with. But of course, my grandmother always thought people were stealing from her anyway. Like, she thought the cash was always going out the door. But like, that's an unfortunate situation that you have to purposefully make yourself as poor as possible.
Yeah.
So that the government will pay for your health. Like, again, protecting our most vulnerable. That's not it.
And this is a benefit that they all paid into.
Right.
And that we're currently paying into. Whether we ever get to actualize it or not, it's another question. But
and they took all of her Social Security money.
Yeah.
And then they had to make sure she was still, and they were still getting money from Medicaid because she qualified for Medicaid. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, why you're like they intend, like, you're just gonna make her poor? Yeah. So she can have some kind of health care?
And the same thing happened to my wife's grandmother. She started failing, and they kind of recognized it. So they liquidated all of her assets, and essentially it was just the kids all took, the aunts and uncles all took control of it. But so she had nothing, but they had to wait. Now, thankfully, she had money in the bank and was able to pay for a home health worker to stay with her. Mm-hmm. But that was a lot of money. I think that
was not cheap.
Yeah, I think it was like $500 a week. It was a lot of money.
That's when we had that experience. It was almost like, I want to say it was like $3,000 a month.
Yeah, maybe it was something like that. But it's a lot. It was significant. But she had the cash to be able to pay for that. Yep. The second 5 years was up, because they do that 5-year look back. They were able to get her into, a facility, but she couldn't be at home anymore anyway. But it's like, you're going to force someone to do that. And like, then there's like long-term care insurance that you could buy.
So my dad had long-term care insurance. Mm-hmm. Because he declined so rapidly, he didn't. I guess he didn't meet the. So he had essentially he had to be admitted for 3 months into a facility before they'd start paying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 months in one of those in like a decent place.
Yeah.
4 or 5 grand.
Oh yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
And your policy won't start kicking in until then.
Yeah.
Well, by then he'd passed. Mm-hmm. So then he didn't even get the benefit of the plan.
Yeah.
So if people are going to get a long-term health care plan, they got to look into it and make sure and see what the time you have to be in the facility before they start paying is.
Yeah, see what their definition of long-term is.
Yes.
Because obviously in your father's case, it wasn't based on prognosis. It was based on days in. And
that was, so his was it could have covered in-home care.
Mm-hmm.
But because he passed before the start date, or his start date to passing date wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
For them to start paying, and so they essentially paid in all those years
for nothing
and got nothing.
Yeah.
Now some of the benefit will roll over to my mother, but my mother was saying, she's like, I'm probably never going to use this policy, and it was just like, wow, we kind of got duped a little bit. I mean, I'm sure it has benefits. I'm sure people that use it it's great, but I wonder how many people kind of get screwed out of the benefit because of like that technicality of, well, when you think, I mean, I would think the insurance company would love it if someone went downhill that quick, because your out-of-pocket expense wouldn't be that much, and know how many people would like they would pay, like they would want it because it paid out so soon. Now, I mean, how many people heard about that policy from my parents were like, well, wait a minute, I've got that policy.
Yeah.
I need to cut that out. I don't know. But healthcare, I know it sounds like a cliche, but healthcare in this country is ridiculously bad. Now, don't get me wrong. People are going to say, well, these are where the best doctors are, and you can get appointments when you need them. I get that part of it. That part is nice. But you could have that and not have just the gouging of people.
Yeah. And I have some friends that live in Canada, and they, and they always compare this. Oh, well, you have to wait months to see a doctor. No, you have to wait months to get like a boob job. Like that's what you have to wait. Like truly elective stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm, and I think as much as an idealist, I'd like to see a third party that, or a full, that option that would work. We kind of know that it's kind of a pipe dream, a pie in the sky type of deal that it's not going to. There's just too much money to be made, and I think it's so entrenched. There's no way to get, because they're just paying off they're just paying off their politicians. So, they're going to get what they want.
And they're not just paying off one side.
Yeah. They're
paying off both.
Oh, sure they are. And that's a lot of these big corporations that donate, they donate equally to, but they hedge their bet, Oh,
sure. Well, I remember when I think it was Bernie Sanders put together the plan just to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Because Medicare isn't allowed to negotiate drug, but whatever the company sets is what it is.
Yeah.
And Medicare has no say in it. And Bernie Sanders put out a plan and it got a vote in the Senate. And I'll always remember this. Cory Booker, who is the senator from New Jersey, is a Democrat.
Yeah.
And he voted against it. And what no one really realized was that some of these pharmaceutical companies are incorporated in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And are big donators to his campaign. So I find it funny when some pundits just kind of point to Republicans and say, "Oh, they're for big business.
Yeah,
they're in the big pharma's pocket." Well, you might want to look at all the donations before you just point a finger at one, because they're all in the pocket.
And then to slam the right a little bit, where's all the let the market decide, the free market? We'll let the free market. Well, by just letting these companies set where, this drug that you can get on GoodRx for $1.84, the list price is $900. Like,
right.
Where's the free market in that?
Right.
They're just charging whatever they want to charge. And if the government, who becomes their biggest customer and sets the price, so if they're selling X amount to the government for between Medicare, Medicaid, the different benefits that are offered, say, let's even throw VA in there.
Right.
Because that's a huge purchaser of this too.
Yep.
And just they can't negotiate the price at all. They're like, I think that this is going to cost $1 billion. Like, okay.
Even if you just ran Medicare and the VA through Blue Cross Blue Shield, because Blue Cross and Blue Shield negotiate the drug prices that their policyholders pay.
Yeah.
So even if you just allowed another insurance company to do, let's say you even said, okay, Medicare, Medicaid, and the VA have to pay the highest negotiated price of an insurance company.
Yeah.
Okay. But at least they're taking a negotiated price and not just whatever the pharmaceutical company must pay.
But where's like the fiduciary responsibility?
Right. Yeah.
This isn't your money. And this is what these asshole politicians, it's not yours. It's ours. It belongs to the people, and you're just doing whatever you want to with it to grease the wheels so that some other rich asshole gives you more money in your campaign.
So some CEO can make $43 million in annual salary and another $20 million probably in perks.
Yeah. And let's not forget their stock options that they get there. All the other, ways to get around taxes.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But it's you look at that and you're like, it's definitely, none of them are looking out for anyone. They're looking out for themselves. And it's, it's not that I've come to this realization now. I think we've all known it with all kinds of things. Even from the previous episode, like, they're not looking out for anyone but themselves.
Well, and I guess that's why I was bringing up the GoodRx app. Because people are going to say, okay, well, what's your solution? Well, I guess right now, GoodRx is my solution to at least drug care prices.
Yeah.
Or drug costs.
Yeah.
It's proven it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you don't pay anything for that. I can literally go into Safeway and pay $1.34 for a 90-day supply of generic Lipitor.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay a dime for that information.
Yep.
And Medicare and Medicaid, using taxpayer money, is going to pay $390 for that same 90-day supply.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is what, and I may have said this before, but this is the problem when we let lawyers and accountants dictate healthcare policy, when it should be patients and providers and, physicians and because you go through it and you think, well, they're looking out for the bottom line, and the lawyers, and then you have I think you'd also have to look at the cost of malpractice insurance, and I might be wrong on the numbers, but this is my father-in-law's orthopedist. Orthopedists have some of the highest malpractice insurance that there is. And, I want to say this is probably 15 years ago, that my father-in-law's, the one doctor at this one practice, was like $350,000 a year in insurance premiums. So just he has to come out $350,000 a year before he's turned the lights on or paid staff or anything.
Yeah.
And who pays for that? We all pay for that, or our insurance company pays for it. But then it raises the premiums on that. So, that's where the lawyers come in. Lawyers and accountants dictating policy, and then, the political class with their, greasing the wheels to let it all keep going.
Right. And like you said, it's at our expense.
Yeah.
I think not just through Medicare, because eventually when we end up on Medicare, sure, but we're paying the taxes now for Medicare.
Yeah.
And we can't opt out.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I think if If the money were spent properly, no one would care.
Yeah.
Cool. This is a good benefit that I'll get later on down the road and that people can enjoy now.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone. I mean, and that's what the thing was. You have the people that are the most difficult to insure being taken care of by the government, because if it wasn't for that, then the second they get to that high risk stage, no one's going to touch them. It's like insuring the person who's old that has all kinds of healthcare problems. Like, what's the insurance premium on the 19-year-old kid driving a Corvette that has 3 DUIs? That's the risk is the same from your insurance standpoint. So, but everything they touched, it just drives the cost even higher and higher. Healthcare is one area where it's driven high by heavy government involvement. And look at education. There's another one that's through the roof with in costs and keeps going up.
So while you were talking about that, I was looking on GoodRx. I just want to see something, because I used to have to take a drug that was to increase my white blood count. It was a drug called Neulasta. Mm-hmm. It's a syringe shot. You take one, and I just want to see what one syringe of Neulasta cost. Now, keep in mind, not many people. This isn't a maintenance drug. It's not a generic. It's not a lot of people use it. There's no generic of it either. The lowest price for this thing, for one syringe, $6,308. Now, here's the thing. I remember. So, I had to have 12 of those. Mm-hmm. Now, luckily, I had hit my max deductible by that point, so I didn't pay anything for it because I already maxed my deductible out. And imagine someone though that had to go through the same thing I did. You can't even use GoodRx for that. It's still $6,000 for one.
Right.
Now multiply that by 12, and so for people to be like, oh, there's no, I can't believe all these people must have had elective surgeries to be in medical debt or what? No. Just to survive something catastrophic.
Yeah.
Think about 6 times 12.
Yeah.
You're talking almost $80,000 just for one drug.
Oh yeah. I feel like, sorry guys, it's been real.
Right, and that's not even the one that's going to save you. Yeah. That's just the one to keep your white blood cell count up.
Right.
To make sure you don't get infections and stuff.
And I'm sure some of this stuff is worth that much money.
Right.
But remember that guy, the pharma bro?
Martin Shkreli?
Yeah. And he went and jacked the cost up of like EpiPens because he could.
Right.
And
his defense was, well, everyone does this. He literally said that. Like, well, there's a lot of companies buy the patents for drugs and then push up the price.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're doing it with insulin.
Right.
Or no, you're doing it with an EpiPen to keep people alive.
Right, to keep little kids alive when they eat a peanut or get stung by a bee.
This thing went off patent. It should be $5. Yeah. You made it $5,000.
Yeah.
Jerk.
Make it 50.
I can't believe people don't like me.
Right.
Well, you look like a freaking alien.
Right.
And you're an ass. you got a double whammy there, buddy.
Yeah.
And then he bought that Wu-Tang album that they made one of.
Yeah.
And he bought it, and he didn't share it with. He didn't give. People thought, oh, someone's gonna buy it, and they're gonna give it out to the world for them to listen to. No. He's kept it, and no one's heard the last Wu-Tang album.
Yeah.
Thanks, ass.
Yeah. But I like Wu-Tang.
I do.
And now, if I was like, I'm
not paying $2 million for it.
ODB, I would just go and, you know what? Screw you, farmer bro. I'm gonna. It's free. It's free.
Why did they force download that onto iTunes?
Yeah, so that stupid U2 album.
I got that dumbass U2 album. And The Edge.
Yeah.
Ass. I'm The Edge.
Yeah.
If my daughter brings home someone and he says, "On the edge," I'm like, just get out.
No, the Edge is sitting in the driveway, dude.
Right.
Get out of here. I can at least drive the Edge to work. You're worthless.
What kind of an asshole you got to be to just say, call me the Edge.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Or when Prince changed his name to a symbol. Like, what is that?
So I heard there was an actual reason behind that. Like, there was some, like, legal reason. Like, he had to do it. So, like, he didn't... I think it was, like, some accounting maneuver for him. Mm-hmm. Oh, I wish I could remember what it was, though. I think I YouTubed it.
Yeah.
Like, the real reason Prince changed his name.
Yeah.
There's just, like, an actual story. He wasn't just trying to be a dick and be, I'm the Edge.
Yeah, what kind of... It sounds like like people make up a nickname for themselves and it's always stupid.
Yes.
Like, you made up a nickname for yourself, which is dumb. And you chose that one. Because you ask a little kid, like, hey, if you had a nickname, like, what would it be? Like, oh, I'd be Slayer. Or, like, I'd be, Destroyer or whatever, like a little boy.
Right.
And then a little girl, you'd be like, I'm the fairy unicorn. Like, it's a stupid nickname. No one's going to call you that. But, like, he made a nickname up for himself. It's not even cool like Slayer.
Right.
It's the Edge.
What are you the edge of?
Right.
No, just the edge.
The edge of stupidity is what.
The thing is, though, back in the 90s, they were 80s and 90s.
YouTube made some great music, so
Honestly, I don't think I knew he was the Edge until I got older.
And he's the guy that he's the one that always wears that, like, skull cap.
I think so.
He looks like he's about to, like, be a cat burglar in an 80s movie.
Yeah. It's almost, but so another 80s 90s rocker, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Remember Flea? Mm-hmm. That sounded stupid too, but at least he looked like he was an immature ass,
right?
Who would have a nickname like Flea,
and he played every concert in tighty whities. That's all he wore.
Right.
Was tighty. He was a good bassist.
Right.
I don't even know what instrument the Edge plays.
I think he also plays the bass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And who's the other guy in U2? There's got to be at least two more dudes, right?
Yeah, there's two. I have no idea who they are.
You just know of Bono and the Edge and the other guys.
Well, it's kind of like Metallica. You know Lars, and you know the front man.
Yeah, there's Lars Ulrich, James Hetfield,
and two other dudes.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine used to be in Metallica. Then he left and formed Megadeth.
Actually, you want to know what Metallica is to me? Dead, because of what they did with Napster.
Yeah, well,
like, easy Lars.
Yeah, but then I pretty much kind of stopped listening to their news. Like, the last album, the good one they made was the Black Album, and
don't get me wrong. I like their old stuff, but Lars didn't understand why Napster came to exist.
Yeah,
because the record companies were charging $22 for a 15 song CD. Were only like maybe two to three of the songs were worth listening to.
Yeah,
that's why people were ripping your music, Lars.
Yep.
They weren't trying to screw you, but your record company was trying to screw all the people.
Yeah.
So sit on that.
Yeah.
You were a millionaire by then.
Yeah. And Load and Reload were crap. So.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they were literally, bands and groups were just putting out albums to meet their contract. Because back then the contract was, here's your contract, and you owe me 5 albums.
Yeah.
Well, 5 albums. I mean, you got to, and each album had to be a minimum of 18 songs or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so they were just putting out garbage songs to fill an album so they could check it off the list.
Yeah. Then
they would go on tour, play the hits from their first album, which is what everyone wanted anyway. Mm-hmm. But people were like, "Well, this is my band.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go buy it. They're gonna come out with a good one this time," and it never was.
Yeah, very rarely were any of those. I mean, there are some albums like, Pearl Jam's that their big breakthrough album. Every song on that's good. Their second album, every song on that's good.
Third one was junk.
Yeah, Insomniac from Green Day was awesome.
Everything else was shit.
Yeah. Yeah, then they got all political and...
Listen, I'm going to go on a limb here. Eminem. First album, awesome. Everything else since then, garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know, like, the rap people, like the music people, Oh, but his lyricism is great. It's on another level. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if no one's listening to it because the composition and the words, the composition of the music sucks.
Yeah.
It's like when 2/3 of his first album were freaking bangers that you could drive and you put it in your car and you're just driving around banging that stuff, and you didn't have to swap CDs out because 8 of 10 songs were awesome.
Yeah.
And then he puts out an album and maybe 1 out of 18 was good. Nah, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care how good your lyricism is. I can't listen to half of this junk.
Yeah, well, I've never been a huge Eminem fan anyway, so
I like that first album.
yeah.
You know?
Then there was D12, which was like
Get out of here with that.
his boys that were like
He got his boys paid. I understand exactly what D12 was. D12 got your boys a record deal.
yeah,
Got them some of that,
so that
Dr. Dre
Skrilla,
money.
Yeah,
And cool. I understand it. Just don't, you went on MTV and told me it was awesome, so I probably got that one too. And there was one song worth listening to, and that's the one you put on the radio.
but it's funny now no one buys albums anymore.
Nope. And
You just stream the songs you like, and like even the record label model is going down
going.
because kids are breaking on YouTube. They're breaking on different.
they don't even make cars with CD players anymore.
Yeah,
So if you're gonna go buy a CD, what are you gonna play it in?
yeah.
Your Discman?
I think both of my cars still have them, but my in-laws just bought a car. They bought a 22 CRV, and it does not have one. And my mother-in-law was like, "How am I going to listen to music?" I said, "It's called Apple Music, or whatever you want to do. It's $14 a month for a family plan,
Yep.
and you can listen to whatever you want." So
It was funny. I was talking about that with someone. How the music industry, CDs are done, tapes are done, albums are going kind of the way of the dodo, and it's you're paying your subscription fee, you're paying your 10. It's almost like Netflix,
yeah,
except for music,
yeah.
and
I think the artist gets paid per play or something like that.
so I think with Spotify, Pandora, all that stuff. Yeah, I think Pandora's owned by SiriusXM now,
Yeah,
and they get paid per play, but a majority of musicians' money though has always come from touring and merch, and it still is.
yeah,
That's why I never understand. I mean, I get it to an extent, but when these artists complain that they're not getting paid for their music, it's like I kind of think you kind of knew the deal going in. Like the music on the radio for you was to sell like concert tickets and merch. It wasn't so you got paid by the play.
yeah,
But who knows? I mean, you got a guy like Tom McDonald. He puts his music out there on the streaming platforms and gets paid per play. But the guy also puts his videos out on YouTube. And when he puts out a new video, he gets like 4 million views.
yeah,
Well, if you're getting $1 per 1,000, it adds up.
yeah.
And especially if you're putting out a song every other Friday. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the calculation is on that, but that's a nice little chunk of change.
Yeah.
And that's how, as a musician, like he might not tour, but he's found a way to get paid for his music. And he's completely independent. He has no record label, no nothing. But that has nothing to do with healthcare.
Zero.
So I got off of my Lars tangent.
Yeah.
I really don't like Metallica after that. Like that, it left such a sour taste in my mouth. But yeah,
flying in on your private jet and complaining about how you're not like.
well, yeah. I'm gonna fly to the climate change conference alone on my private jet,
Right.
and then scold all of you little peons about grilling.
Yeah.
Like they were literally trying to say that using charcoal grill on your backyard barbecue was harming the environment.
I hate them all.
As they flew back and forth over the Atlantic Ocean,
Yeah. At least.
and couldn't even carpool. You couldn't even plane pool, and you're gonna tell me not to grill some steak? You need okay. Like, oh god, you gotta. your reality check is so far gone by that point.
Yeah.
If you're yelling at me for using charcoal, my barbecue's killing the environment.
At least Greta Thunberg sailed here. A little sailboat.
And then, that girl, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sure, I feel like she probably believes in what she's doing, but man, does she get memed and gift.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe you might want to run your speech by some people next time.
And she's an adult now, so we can all make fun of her freely. It's not making fun of a kid anymore. So, yeah. How dare you?
How dare you? Oh, I dared.
Yeah.
I will dare to barbecue this weekend. I'm sorry, Greta.
And that cow farted a lot or burped.
Right. And,
Did you see that?
And the runoff from his shit?
They wanted to like put masks over cows' mouths to catch the bird. How do we take these people seriously? Like, how do you
I'm laughing, dude.
I mean, that's your idea.
That was a real idea,
Is
by
to
the
put
way.
a freaking mask. Like, I guess everyone has to wear masks now, but this is so that where do you think it goes?
Do they make a special mask for the cow?
Yeah, to put it over its this is why we need to get video on this show.
Right.
So that we can like show the absurdity. But how do we take that seriously? And I want to listen to you, who just flew somewhere by yourself in a Gulfstream or a Boeing business jet and landed there, and you're going to pontificate and condescend about that, and you're telling me not to grill, and we're going to put a mask on a freaking cow. So this is Bert, and we're supposed to take you seriously. And then the other part of that whole thing is they've said that the world's going to end from climate change like every 20 years for the last 40. Oh, it's going to end by 2020. Yeah, it's still here. It's going to end. They just move the goalpost. As they eventually, yes, it will end.
They bought the oceanfront property last week.
Yeah.
I thought the seas were rising. For the oceans. Weren't they rising?
We should have oceanfront property by now. We're like 4 miles from the bed.
Right.
Like, where's my dock?
Didn't you know that was my plan? Buy here, and eventually I'll be on the ocean.
Yeah, I'm gonna start building a dock. People are like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm getting ready for the forest to rise.
You just put out your backyard.
I'm gonna put a contender out there just sitting in the grass. It's Noah's Ark, just a smaller version of it.
It'll be why do you have a boat out there? Well, in 10 years, it's going to be floating.
Yeah, so. John Kerry said from his Gulfstream,
right?
We're all going to die. So I need my boat so I can catch fish.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing was, we're going back to healthcare. Like the GoodRx, I mean, like I know I've been plugging GoodRx.
Yeah, they're not paying us for this.
We're not getting paid for by them at all. The only reason why I brought it up is just to prove that there are people out there smart enough to do these things that are actually beneficial to people. Mm-hmm. The actual people that live on this planet. There are people smart enough to come up with solutions.
Yeah.
They're just not in the government. And that's a really harsh thing to say, because I think the government probably does a lot of good work in certain areas. Mm-hmm. And then they do some really bad work in some other areas. And the key to, what do they say? The key to success is knowing what you don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't. If I ever thought a politician, well, I don't think any of these politicians have the goal of success. I think they have the goal of getting reelected and getting rich.
Yeah. Well, it's because no one in politics. So let's take presidential politics, because it's a 4-year cycle. And so no one in politics is playing the long game past 4 to 8 years, because they don't care. Once they hit their 8 years, look how watered down Obamacare got over the time. And then, there's some Supreme Court decisions and stuff like that. But, and then there was the whole virtue signaling from the Republican Party. They all had to get their chance to vote to repeal Obamacare, even though it was going right to Harry Reid's Senate, where they knew it was dead on arrival, but they still wasted a whole bunch of time doing it anyway. But he doesn't care anymore.
No.
He's gone, So I just, they're not playing the long game at all. There's no one there that says, so like some cities, you have the mayor and county, but they have a city manager. Mm-hmm. So the mayor and all these people can grandstand and do all their shit, but the actual business of the city is being done by a professional.
Right.
But it seems like even the professionals that are supposed to be running this, they've all been bastardized by the whole process too.
Well, so a lot of this is how it kind of works. The political person is technically the person in charge. Mm-hmm. And the city manager, the city planner, whoever is the highest civilian.
Yeah.
Well, they almost have to do what the political person wants because the political person can fire them.
Yeah.
And the civil servant is trying to hang on to their job. I mean, they got kids. They're just like everyone else. They got a job they want to keep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they might know better, but if they want to keep that job, you kind of got to toe the line.
Yeah.
So they almost become political by default because they kind of have to do what the guy wants, what the political person wants. I mean, and if people always said, well, what are they supposed to do? Like, what are they supposed to do to make things better? And I'm probably going to get flamed for this, but there's two good examples. There's one in Israel where they've set up 5 desalination plants to create drinking water out of seawater. Is it expensive? Yes, it is. Is there a return on the investment? Not right now, but you're essentially able to take non-usable human. You can't use salt water for anything in human consumption. Yeah. You can't use it for irrigation. You can't use it for drinking. They found a way because there's a water issue in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. They had the long vision to start this program back, I think, in the 60s. Now, someone said they started even thinking about it before Israel even became their land. Mm-hmm. But let's say it started in the 60s or 70s. They had the foresight to say, look, we're going to run out of water. We need a solution. And then they slowly developed the technology to do desalination.
Yeah.
To now the point where they have excess water. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they created the drinking water from the desalination. They used recycled wastewater for irrigation. Mm-hmm. So the desalination water is for drinking. The wastewater is then used for irrigation. Mm-hmm. They still have enough water, fresh water, to export.
Yeah.
Which was one of the reasons why the UAE signed a peace deal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because Israel, not that they're shipping water, mm-hmm. they're sending the technology for desalination to some of these other Arab countries mm-hmm. in exchange for the peace deal.
Right.
Now,
because no matter whether you read the Quran or the Torah, right. You still got to drink.
You still need water, right? Yeah. And so, now, was that the sole reason for it? I don't know. And what would stop someone from taking the technology, using it, and then saying, okay, I'm back, I hate you again? Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I'm sure there's an answer somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But the other example, and this is the one I'm going to get flamed for, is Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. So, what did he do? So, while all these other people were talking about climate change, he went and made electric cars viable for the consumer to buy. Is the largest seller of electric vehicles in a country that loves combustion engines. Mm-hmm. Basically, he made it okay to buy one.
Yeah.
Not hybrids, fully electric.
Yeah.
And there's a whole debate. We always talk about whether they're actually better for the environment than combustion engines, but whatever. Let's say you're on board with that. Yeah. Then he did that. He is creating other modes of transportation to take cars off the road mm-hmm. with the Hyperloop and the Boring Company. Mm-hmm. He also reduced the cost of going into space with a reusable rocket.
Yeah.
And then all these people that wanted to talk about, helping rural communities or getting high-speed internet into the homes of people who needed it most. Rural, inner city, where the major companies wouldn't go lay fiber because it was too expensive. Mm-hmm. Created Starlink.
Yeah.
Which in 2 short years, or maybe 3 short years, has grown into a viable high-speed internet company. And not only is it stationary, he's now got a mobile one. Mm-hmm. So you can drive. You can literally be driving. So you're not tethered to your home anymore.
Yeah.
You can take the dish wherever you want. You pay an extra $20 a month, and you can take it wherever you want to go. Mm-hmm. But imagine for rural people, now you can have high-speed internet.
Yeah.
Like not DSL, not 12 megabytes per second up.
Yep.
You can have 120 megabytes per second up or download. Mm-hmm. That stuff makes a difference. And yes, he's going to profit off of it, but at least he's doing it.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just taking in money and talking about solutions and doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing. Like, the profit is the motivator to get it done. And when you deal with government, there is no, what is the motivator? You know,
but he saw the long game, though. You know.
Yeah, because that's going to be the sustainability, and I mean his portfolio is so diverse, all the stuff he's involved with. So, speaking of electric cars, I saw a Polestar in the wild for the first time.
How was it?
It was. I was like, "What is that?" And then I said, "I thought they looked cooler than that." I was kind of unimpressed. So maybe the color was wrong. It was like a dumb blue color.
That's not a 4-star. It's not a 4-door sedan, is it? I didn't even look at the page. I don't remember what it looks like.
I think this one was a coupe. But I was passing it. But I could tell. I definitely knew it was a Polestar. I was like, "Oh, that's a Polestar."
You passed it?
Yeah.
It must not be very fast.
Yeah, it was stuck in the slow lane.
No. So. Did you pass in the minivan?
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you pass it in the SUV?
Yeah.
Nope. So. I passed it in the minivan. Ooh. Yeah. Stings a bit.
So, but yeah, I was unimpressed. It was like a dumb color, too. I think maybe it was a different color would have been better. I was like...
Was it baby blue?
Yeah, it was dirty, too.
Oh, you got to keep that clean.
Yeah.
You're going to have a supercar. You got to...
Yeah.
You got to make it presentable.
Yeah.
To the people. You're the lone he's probably the lone representative of Polestar in our area.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I wonder if they're still sold at Volvo dealerships.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because wasn't it?
They look a lot like Volvos. So
Polestar used to be to Volvo what AMG was to Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then Mercedes just bought AMG outright, and I don't know if Volvo bought Polestar outright.
Today was a two-electric car, obscure electric car day, because I saw a BMW i3, which is like the dumbest car ever.
God, that's the worst looking car I've ever seen.
But I was behind it,
yeah,
and the tires are so skinny, but they're huge. They're like, it's got like 20-inch rims, but like the width of the tires, it might be 6 inches. Like It's like, what is with those tires?
It's a 20-inch rim, 5 inches across.
Yeah, I thought it was sitting on a donut.
Oh my
god!
God.
And I pulled it around. I was like, no, that's the. And I remember reading something about how it had those. I think Doug DeMuro did a thing on it. It's like it's got the dumbest looking tires, and it does. So
that i3 is right up there with a smart car for me. It's the 2 dumbest cars on the planet.
Yeah.
What was the iMiev? Was that that was a Mitsubishi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like I-MIEV.
Yeah, well, I mean, does Mitsubishi, they even still make cars anymore?
You know what they do? And you want to know how I know? So, all right.
We're so far off topic.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timer like, wow. we're really off topic, and I don't really care. So we went to a wedding this past weekend. Mm-hmm. And I used Costco. Again, not sponsored by Costco. Probably should be. Not sponsored, though. Use Costco Travel. By the way, if you ever need rental cars the best prices are at Costco Travel. So I
If you want to rent a Mitsubishi.
well, I'm getting to that. Yeah. So I rented what I thought was a full-size sedan. Mm-hmm. So with Costco, you get the one bump upgrade. So it went from mid-size to full-size.
Yeah.
Got the full-size for the price of a mid-size. Awesome. Great. Had an issue. A flight got canceled, so we had to go the next morning. By the time I got there, the car wasn't there. Now, when I called customer service the day before to make sure, like, oh, no, they'll hold the car for 24 hours. They did not hold the car for even 12 hours. Like, we were supposed to get in at, like, 7:30. No. We were supposed to get in at 10 on Friday night. Instead, we got in at 7:30 Saturday morning. So they didn't hold it for 12 hours.
9 hours.
Yeah. They didn't hold it at all. So I got there, and she's like, well, we really don't have anything. They finally gave me a car. And he's like, okay, here's your car. It's in this spot number. I said, is it the same as a full-size sedan? And the guy goes, oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. So I go, and it's like a Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. So it's the small CUV. Mm-hmm. So I go to the lady that's upstairs. I said, hey, he said it was going to be a full-size sedan. And she goes, oh, no, he gave you an upgrade. He put you in a mid-size SUV. I mean, no, that's not mid-size. That's small.
Yeah.
I can barely fit 3 suitcases in the bag. And she was like, no, that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade from a full-size sedan? So anyway, I started getting this thing. God, honestly, dude, it felt like I was riding outside. That's how thin the doors were. So yes, Mitsubishi does still make cars, but whether they're good or not, probably not. I don't even know if there's a Mitsubishi dealership even around here.
It's too bad they didn't have a Diamante.
Listen, man, that Diamante was awesome.
It
back
looked like
then.
a 7 Series.
It was supposed to be like a large sedan fighter, man. Yeah. Back in the day, my dad always wanted one of those. Never got one, but he always wanted one.
Yeah.
So. What were we? We talked about we were talking about government.
Yeah.
GoodRx, not sponsored by them either. Who we are sponsored by is private internet access. Because by the way, if you do use GoodRx, they're probably going to try and sell your information. So you're not going to be able to prevent that if you're using the GoodRx app. But if you're doing any other kind of online browsing or paying for other things online, be sure to use private internet access and get your VPN for under $2 a month. Keep that credit card information. Keep your private information safe, and go on dumbideapodcast.com. Click on our private internet access link on the right hand side. Still thinking about a new name for the podcast. Hopefully, we figure that out in the next week or so, and we will share it with you when we know. And we will see you next time.